Here's where I stopped using slides 10 years ago. The month before my son was born, I was on about 22 flights flying all around the country, professionally speaking and presenting at organizations. Yeah, in the last 10 years, I have never used one PowerPoint slide. In this video, I'm going to share 3 reasons why, but I'm also going to make the case that perhaps, regardless of your context, you may be able to never make a PowerPoint slide again. So think about in the last decade, every minute that you've spent moving pixels, typing things into slides, editing a deck, sending them back for approval, I've done 0 of that. And so if you want to majorly cut down your preparation in presentations, tune in for this video. If you choose to spend a few minutes with me, it could very much edit the way that you present for the rest of your career, even if you still use a couple slides now and again. Reason number 1, philosophically, conferences, events, even Intacct, right? Particularly, let's just take conferences and events, a gathering, some national conference, some regional event. People might come for the content once. Oh, this speaker speaking or this, but they will come back again and again and again because of all the connections that happen in between the content. And I realized as soon as I put a slide up, I am directing everybody's, all the potential energy that could be spent making connections in between, and I'm taking all that energy and attention and I'm putting it toward content. And I guarantee you, if you ask people in the last 10 events they attended, can they write down a couple moments or interactions that actually left them transformed, that actually changed their mind? I guarantee, even if you paid $1 million to have somebody speak, I guarantee nobody's gonna say, on slide 5 of so-and-so's presentation, everything shifted for me. What they'll talk about is in the hallway afterward, or after the presentation ended, we went out to dinner with these people and we blah, blah, blah. And so I learned very early on that if you want to stand out as a speaker, and I've built for over the last decade, built a pretty robust career that brought me on 22 flights the month before my son was born, traveling around speaking in all these different places. And I learned if you want to stand out, everybody else uses slides. So if you just don't, you will stand out. Now, I don't just talk endlessly at people. What I've realized, number 2 reason to not use slides, is that your delivery is by far your best form of marketing. Whether you're internal or external, right? Your delivery is your best form of marketing. What I mean by that is what people feel and experience after spending an hour with you determines whether they call you back, whether they invite you to come in and work with a different group in the organization, etc. And so the reason that I've been able to build this career is nearly every single engagement that I've ever had has turned into at least 2 more. Even if there weren't decision makers in the room, right? The people in the room go back and say, wow, I just experienced something that I've never done before. Delivery as your best form of marketing has 2 lenses, the audience lens and the event organizer lens. So the audience lens, when I step on stage and I say, hey everybody, there's 1,000 people on this side of the stage. You've collectively been alive for a lot longer than me. So the wisdom in this room is very heavily distributed off stage. And that is why I have 0 PowerPoint slides today. Can you tell I've said that before, right? Like when I say that phrase, without exception, the audience starts clapping. Because we're so used to death by PowerPoint that immediately, if your delivery is your best form of marketing, I haven't even provided any value yet. All I did was tell them I'm not gonna use slides. And they clapped. Now I printed out, this is a weird thing, but I had somebody message me on LinkedIn and I actually printed out their comment because they had asked some questions about using these conversation cards. They wanted to do, instead of, they were presenting to 700 people, and instead of just presenting at them, they wanted to invite this giant question swap where people got to make a whole bunch of connections and have conversations they otherwise wouldn't. I asked him how'd it go? And he said, the twofold, right? He said, first of all, he said, went pretty good. Missed a beat at the beginning, classical stage nervousness, but otherwise smooth waters. So that pretty good part was focused on his own delivery. He's focused on me. Listen to the next part of this. Let me see if you think this is pretty good. Feedback was great. 80 to 90 people came up to me afterward and wanted me to thank you, share the outcome of their conversations. Some said they were gonna end up swapping house on summer vacation. Some met all over Europe and the US afterward. Some connected later in the day, again, to finish their conversations that began here. So if you want 80 to 90 people to come up to you after a presentation, ditch the slides and think about whatever you're talking about. Invite people to connect around that topic, that idea, that purpose. And it's just quite possible that 80 to 90 people come up to you after and say, holy smokes, I've never experienced anything like that. That was amazing. Before I jump to number 3, which is arguably the most valuable reason why you might want to consider cutting or at least cutting back on your slides. Let me just say that what I'm talking about in a YouTube video is a little bit hard to understand. It's part of the reason that every December I host this event called the Connectors Summit, where the motto tagline inspired by something that Peter Block said in a keynote at last year's summit, which is that really connection is the content. And so it's one of the only events on planet Earth where connection truly is the content. So we have expert master facilitators, a whole bunch of practitioners. If you lead groups in any way or presenting as a part of your job, your brain will melt with happiness. Attending the summit happens all online, and there's a link somewhere below. Now, reason number 3, I alluded to earlier, PowerPoint slides are a massive time sink. Even if you tell AI to make your deck for you, it is such a time sink to figure out what word goes where, the design, the pixels, and 90% of that has no impact on an audience. Whether your graphic is here or here on the slide has zero bearing on whether a group or a person is transformed and changed by it. So not only is it a time sink, but it's a massive crutch. I was at a conference literally yesterday before filming this, and the power went out in the studio. So everybody's breakout session that had PowerPoints, and I talked to 2 or 3 very nervous presenters, like, oh my gosh, they had no clue what to do. For me, if the power goes out, I'm like, sweet, right? The more natural lighting, this is good, right? Imagine the freedom that comes with not worrying about whether your fonts populate on the new computer or whether this goes right. You just don't even worry about it at all. And then I'm speaking to a more narrow audience here, but if you're a professional speaker or facilitator, when your client asks you, hey, what are your AV needs? I've seen speakers send back AV needs that are like 2 pages long, all these specific requests. You just kind of look bad, in my opinion, to somebody. You're like hard to work with. When somebody asks, what are my AV needs on the prep call, I say, you're gonna like this. I just need a microphone so that everybody can hear me. The contents in the room, the slides and all the expertise and the wisdom and the magic that's gonna happen, it's all on the other side of the stage. And immediately when I say that, their face is like, oh my gosh, I wish, literally I've heard 100 event organizers say, oh, I wish everybody would say that. You have all these specific AV needs and you're hard to work with. I'm Chad. Have an awesome day.